many of you have already started to listen to Christmas music? All my people, thank you. I know I was going to be in the minority when I asked that question in the other services. I was in the minority there, but I have been listening to Christmas music for quite some time. And I'm sure that whenever you start, or if you have started, to listen to Christmas music, there are probably certain songs that you want to make sure to hear, not just once, but many times throughout the season, right? I mean, think about it. If you come to our church on any of our Christmas services that are offered, and we don't sing such songs like Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Joy to the World, Silent Night, Away in a Manger, those kind of songs, you can be a little disappointed. Christmas music usually reaches out to touch our souls and our emotions to tell the story. I couldn't help but think about the one song in preparation for this message, the song, Do You Hear What I Hear? Who's heard that song before? See, more people. You listen to Christmas music. Great. But it's a song of progression, isn't it? It starts off with the wind telling the lamb, telling the shepherd boy, and then telling the mighty king of this story, who then tells the world about this baby. Christmas and its music, or at least Christ-centered music, focuses our attention on talking about that baby in the manger. So, do you see a king lying in the manger? Now, fast forward about 33 years from that birth, the baby's all grown up. He's done some pretty amazing things. He walked on water, changed water to wine, calmed the sea. He healed the sick, raised the dead. He had thousands of people follow him. He looked the part of a king. But not on this day. Not anymore. In fact, his closest friends left him, abandoning him to the enemy, and the enemy stood there mocking him. We see part of our lesson. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is God's Messiah, the chosen one." The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, "If you are the King of the Jews, save yourself." There was a written notice above him which read, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." To that I would ask, what do you see? Do you see a king dying on a cross? I struggle sometimes with some of the stories in the Bible, not because I doubt their validity, that they're true, but I struggle with the stories because I think sometimes I forget the people in the story are just as human as you and me. And I was thinking about that song, Do You See What I See? And I turned it a little bit to ask this question, how could they not see it? How could the thousands of people who came to Jesus not see it? How could they stand before him and be fed spiritually and then be fed physically with that miracle that he did, only to have them leave him? How could they not see it? How could the disciples not see it? Especially Peter, James, and John. You think shortly before the story that I read to you happened, they were invited to a very special place, Mount of Transfiguration. And there, before their very eyes, they got to see Jesus in his glory. How awesome that would have been. And then a few days later, they deny him and run from him. How could they not see it? How could the Jews not see it? They read the Bible and they read all about the prophecies of this Messiah who was going to come. And they can see, oh, this Jesus is fulfilling all of those prophecies. And then they follow him, and special day, Palm Sunday, they throw their jackets on the ground for Jesus and the donkey to walk across. And then they follow him, and they see all of these amazing miracles. And Pilate comes and says, "Here's your king." And a notice is written above his head on a cross, and the people respond, "He's not our king. We don't want anything to do with him." How could they not see it? How could the soldiers not see it? More than likely, they had heard some amazing stories about this Jesus and the power that he has and the miracles that he could do. But more recently, they saw it with their own eyes. Jesus bending down and picking up a severed ear and putting it back on the head of the man whose ear was cut off by Peter. And how could they not see it when they stood before Jesus and he simply said, "I am he," and they were forced to the ground because of his words? How could they agree to hurt this man or lift a finger against this almighty king? How could they not see it? Do you see a king dying on the cross? How could they be so blind, so forgetful, so arrogant? How could I? Maybe Jesus isn't still up on the cross, but do we sometimes treat him as though he is? Do we sometimes act as though he is there on the cross? Do you see a king? Perhaps it was a particularly bad week for this person. They didn't hear the alarm clock going off on Monday morning, and they were extremely late already in the morning. They had to force their way to get through their morning routine. Of course, you got to get your cup of joe before you go, right? So they made coffee, found their favorite mug, filled it up, and they realized, I gotta drink this fast as I can so that I can catch up a little bit. They burned their mouths because of it, and because they burned their mouth, they dropped their favorite mug. It fell to the floor, shattered all over the place. Coffee on their shoes, on their new clothes. They have to change, which is going to slow them down even more. As they bend down to clean up the mess, they quickly come up and bang their head against one of the counters or the table that is there. A bruise begins to develop, of course, right before they were going to go on that first date with that special someone. They finally get into the car, they turn around and drive, and the service engine soon light pops up, and they realize their wallet isn't fat enough to pay for that right now. They get to a light and they stop, and they notice there's a notification. Your loved one had to go back in for tests. The results weren't good. Maybe they started thinking about those results and they forgot that they were lifting their foot off of the brake until, boom, they hit the car right in front of them. Of course, they had to stop and exchange insurance, which put them even further behind. By the time they got to their job, their boss is there, questioning their desire to actually be a part of this company anymore, or if they should let them go. The rest of the week continues on. The bruise turns into this nasty-looking thing as they sit in the restaurant waiting for that first date to appear, and they never show up, and embarrassed, they have to walk out of the restaurant with all of the eyes looking at them. Where are you, King Jesus? Do you see a king? Or is he just a man dying on a cross? Now, I understand that was a silly example. But has there ever been any situation in your life that has dragged you away, your attention away from seeing the real king on a cross, and now all you see is just a man? Maybe for you it's this time of year. The holidays are right around the corner, and they just pile one on top of another. At Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then New Year's, a time for families to get together and celebrate under one roof and share joy and love with one another. And you've been praying to this King Jesus who can heal all relationships, mend all relationships. And you've been asking him to help you and your family, which seems to be broken, but it seems like he's not listening, as now there is a separation. And holidays just add to the pain that you feel. Where are you, King Jesus? Do you see a king? Or is he just a man dying on a cross? Maybe for you prayed to this King Jesus, and you've heard the stories of him being able to heal every disease and sickness, and so you decide, I'm gonna trust this King Jesus and his power. I'm gonna place my loved one into his care. Jesus, please help my loved one get better. And it seems like he's not listening. And the only answer that you get from that is your loved one is taken home to heaven. Holidays remind you of the void left behind from this, where they used to sit and celebrate and share joy and laughter with you. Now that seat is empty. Where are you, King Jesus? Do you see a king? Or is he just a man dying on a cross? Maybe for you it's a sin. You keep giving into the sin over and over, and you realize something about yourself. You don't have the power to say no to it. And so you read in Scripture that he's going to help you find a way out. And so you turn to this King Jesus who said no to every single temptation. And you ask him, Jesus, I can't do this. I need your strength. Help me get through this. And then without notice, that temptation is thrown in your face again. And you give in again. And maybe with that sin comes all kinds of guilt. Maybe that sin has gotten to the point where your family has stopped talking to you. Maybe you've even lost your job over it, and yet you choose still to give in. Where are you, King Jesus? Do you see a king? Or is he just a man dying on a cross? Or maybe, for you, you watch the news and you wonder what is going on in our world today. It seems as though instead of trying to figure out how can we come together and bring some kind of peace and joy in our country, in our world, it's so much hatred that is going around. And you turn to this King Jesus, the King of the universe, who can do anything, and you pray for help. But it seems like the enemies of Jesus are rising in power, and the people of Jesus have to run and hide. Where are you, King Jesus? Do you see a king? Or just a man dying on a cross? And there he is. Our lesson talked about it. Mocked, ridiculed, abused, dying on a cross. How can he be king? He doesn't look like a king. He doesn't act like a king. He's not treated like a king. Where are you, King Jesus? Where is your strength? Where is your deliverance? Yes, come down from that cross. Show us that power. Show us that kind of king you are. And he shows us the kind of king he is by staying on that cross. Even though I may not see it, Jesus is king. The Almighty King who came for you and for me. And even though the world didn't see it, one man in our story did. And he turns to Jesus and he says, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. He saw past the blood. He saw past the nails and the scars and the crown of thorns. He saw past the mockery, the apparent defeat, and the sure death that was coming very soon. And he saw the truth. This Jesus is the greatest king this world has ever seen. This Jesus, this king died to save his people. This king never lashed out. He never spoke back. He never fought back. And there was this king dying on the cross, and one man saw the truth. That this innocent king came to make you and me innocent. Yes, he could have come down from that cross and demonstrated his power. He could have done anything he wanted. And what did he want to do? To stay on that cross. To show his power in what seemed to be defeat, also that you and I would have the same invitation that he told that man on the cross. Today I tell you, or truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. All because our King flexed his power on the cross, which seemed to be in defeat, because there our King stayed on the cross to destroy sin, death, and the devil for you. No, he's not just a man dying on a cross. He is our King who stayed on the cross to destroy our sin. He is our King who stayed on the cross to defeat the devil. He is our King who stayed on the cross to conquer death. And there on the cross is where this King showed his power. Sin has no power over you anymore. The devil is useless against you. And in Jesus, death is simply falling asleep. I know sometimes we have to look through eyes of faith to really see who this Jesus is. One man dying on the cross next to Jesus saw it. That Jesus is the true King. May we also, through eyes of faith, be able to see the truth. That it's not just a man dying on the cross, but this is your King, King Jesus, who is victorious in all things and gives you heaven. And know with confidence, one day Jesus will say to you too, truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. Amen.